Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. My name's Paul Sanneman. I found our Contractor Staffing Source. We help contractors build great teams. My guest today is 𝗀𝗄𝗹, a legend in the marketing industry from 𝗀𝗶𝘂𝗋𝗋. I saw some, I got to build you up here, right? And, she's a guest speaker, people all over the world to talk about marketing. So I think we're lucky to have her. So 𝗀𝗄𝗋, tell me about what you do and why people should listen to you.
Absolutely. Well, I am a trade baby, if you will. My family's from the trades. I own several or portions of several trade companies, pest control, a roofing company, HVAC plumbing company. And I own 𝗀𝗶𝘂𝗋𝗋 Marketing, which is a marketing company for the trade. So basically, I serve as a fractional CMO, so Chief Marketing Officer for home service companies that really want to build a brand and lead aggregation. And so I don't do websites. I don't do direct mail. I really organize your entire marketing strategy to build your brand, to help you recruit better members, and just be a good company and really grow your company into a legacy that you get to leave behind. So love to do it. I'm based out of East Texas, if you can't tell by my accent, but love to bring some good energy to the home service trades.
So what's the difference between lead gen and brand building?
Yeah. So, I feel like contractors feel like they have to live on the hamster wheel that is pay-per-click and SEO, alphabet soup, if you will, our Google local service ads, and there's, geofencing, and AI is now in that mix. And so that is so true. That does need to be a piece of your marketing strategy, but it can't be your entire marketing strategy. So branding is where we work on people in your desired market just interacting with your brand every single day, whether it's on billboards, it's on a radio jingle, it's truck wraps, it's community involvement, it's newsletters, it's lots of cool things. So it takes that plus lead generation, or lead capture is what it really should be called, but pay-per-click and SEO and all those digital formats that we have, even like meta ads, paid ads, So branding is a long-term strategy that we have to use to the more rich and memorable that your brand becomes in your market, the better your paid advertising, your lead generation will perform. And same thing with recruitment. The more you'll be able to recruit with the better brand that you have. And so we love to look at the brand first. We have a brand forward approach to marketing. And then we always layer in like how we actually need money from lead gen happens a lot faster for us. And so that's when we really can kick in some of those lead generation strategies too.
Now, one of the things I think is difficult about brand is how do you tell if your brand is making you money? Like the ROI is harder. I mean, it's easy if I spend so much on Google ads and I get so much back. The ROI is not hard to figure out, right? Because how do I tell how much money I should spend on my brand? Am I getting a return on investment? It's sort of soft kind of stuff. So how does a trade contractor know whether he has a good brand, it's working, and he should spend money on it? How much should he spend?
Yeah, so a blanket number, and again, it depends. There's a couple little caveats in there. Because listen, you know what, Paul? If marketing was a simple recipe and you could just deploy that recipe, it would not be a thing, right? That's not real life. It depends on lots of different factors. But on the most part, I'm going to tell you, if you want to grow aggressively, meaning more than 30 to 40% year over year in total revenue, then I think you need to be hovering at 9 to 10% spend of your actual revenue goal. So, you want to do $1 million, you need to be spending $100,000. So there's a method to that, because if you're willing to be aggressive, there's places for us to be aggressive. But some of you are not accustomed to spending any amount of money on marketing. So just getting you to a 5% spend would naturally increase brand awareness and overall lead generation strategies as well. But if I had to say, how do you know what's working? It's the sum of all. So I use this sometimes in my writing. 4 plus 4 equals, 9. Sounds kind of weird, but honestly, it's everything together compounds on itself and makes for a higher outcome. So when your brand is good and your lead gen is good, lead generation looks very sexy to us. It's almost like a high that we get from it because it's so trackable. I spent $1,
Right.
I made 100, I made 1,000. But
Right.
branding, like you can't go, man, I put these 3 billboards up and I sold 3 new homes, right?
It doesn't work that way, right?
Doesn't work that way. But collectively, when you take your entire spend overall, that's how you measure success. So overall, I was spending 10% and I wanted to grow by 40%. Did marketing bring me in enough leads to grow by 40%? Because I can only get it to the phone call. You as the operator have to be a good operator to get the maximum average tickets and get to those points.
Right.
But our job is to give you enough leads to hit your goals. And so that's where the disconnect probably falls, is people will say, well, I spent all this money and I didn't get anything out of it. Well, what part was missing? Was there not enough leads? Were the leads not good enough? Or did you fail to execute as an operator? So it's kind of all gloves off, right? It's
right.
everything
Now,
for a
I think,
second.
with AI and private equity, this is even getting more confusing in my opinion, because private equity is, consolidating and, because it got displaced from a lot of places it was spending money. AI did that, like, attorney's offices, movie theater, where AI used to spend a lot of money. Where private equity used to spend a lot of money, AI is disrupting this industry. So it's got to go somewhere. Well, AI isn't going to fix your toilet anytime soon. So all that money is coming in, private equity is coming into the trades. And what's happening is now the local guys, in the old days, it was, the plumber competing with Roto-Rooter, but it's sort of getting like that, right? Because what's happening is the private equity has more money, more expertise, and they're trying to capture market. And I'm sure they understand building brand. That's what they do, right?
Yep.
So how does this small guy, say he's doing 3 million, compete with the private equity who's going to wrap all their trucks and put all the signs and do all that kind of stuff? How can the small guy compete with the guy that has more money and expertise?
So I will disagree on one little thing. I'll tell you what they're not doing. And I work with PE groups, so I can tell you what they are not doing is effective branding. So because they are a lot of private equity groups, right? They're very focused on the bottom dollar at all times. So until they can see that everything produces $1, they don't want to do it. So they don't have the patience and the lasting power to let branding truly work. So the first thing that PE does when they come in is wipe out all the branding. And they take away direct mail and they go all digital. So as a non-private equity company, so as a still privately owned company, you have all of this space to be flexible and to be egregious in those things, knowing that it's a marathon strategy, right? So for example, get out into your community. So instead of going, you can't really match them. We don't have enough money, nor necessarily should we go dollar for dollar against these large companies. That may not be where the real low-hanging fruit is anyway, but that's all they really know how to do. And I think they're coming around.
So what private equity's mistake is it's too profit focused, right? In a sense, to be general, I'm sure there's good PE companies, but in general, PE is more concerned about making money than helping people. And is a big picture. Right?
I would say as a general overview, yes, they're just looking for bottom dollar. So anything
they're looking for, I'm going to put 30 million in, I want 35 million out, or whatever they do, right?
Yeah.
Whereas they don't join the local football team, are a member of the local chamber of commerce, don't show up
to the festivals. They aren't in the
festivals, the Christmas parties. They just say, okay, we're going to up a ton into pay-per-click. We're going to outspend everybody and we're going to own Google. They can do that, right? But you're right. They can't become a local brand where everybody knows ABC Plumbing because their trucks are around, their signs are around, they come to the community events. They're like the local plumbing company everybody loves, right?
Right, correct. And so they don't do some of those things that you could be doing. And so that's one thing, is being nimble enough to be able to be out in the community, be in the Christmas parade, be at opening day of Little League Baseball, shaking hands, kissing babies, and doing those things. That is memorable, it's engaging, and it's cheaper than the hamster wheel that is paid ads. The other thing you can do is also be more aggressive with unique offers. So I think large companies in general, not just private equity groups, but large companies in general, they get really caught up in these little caveats and details, and sometimes in red tape, if you will. Some of you have the flexibility to be more nimble. I don't know, I've used that word, but be more
I can relate, Crystal, because I do podcasts, right? And I love podcasts with companies like yours. When I deal with a big company, I got to go through legal, I have to go through marketing. It's like 6 months and approvals before I can do one podcast.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Right.
And I'm sure that
no, we're saying the same things here. Yeah. So you can see that we see it. You and I see it in real time. So, right now, if you want to give away with whatever, you just say, every new home that we're building is getting this package, upgraded insulation. I don't know, something cool, right? Then you can say it and put it into existence tomorrow.
Or we can say, during Christmas, our plumbers are going to wear Christmas hats. But in a big company, you go, no, we have to go through HR. We have to go through legal. Christmas hats may be a detriment to their hair. I mean, whatever. So putting on Christmas hats is a big issue. If you're a small company, you say, here are the hats, put them on. Let's say Merry Christmas, right?
Correct. So, it's wild that happens, but you actually have that flexibility on your side. And this is more sweat equity than it is like dollar spend, but getting more content out, get more content out on social media, pictures of the new homeowner, the new install, the old versus the new system, whatever you've got, any sort of home service. So like one of my pest control companies, they kill it with content that is of bugs. So, hey, we went into the house this time and we saw this type of bug. People are like, oh my gosh, a spider. They love real life things. And so we, as non-huge companies, you have more flexibility there that really can differentiate you.
You clearly have a lot less rules to follow, which can be an upside, right?
Yeah.
So I would say now this is where, to me, the small guy has a branding advantage. You're right. Because if I'm going to wrap the trucks and I'm a franchise, it's going to take me 6 months to figure out how to do it, because I got to get legal, I have to get marketing, I have to get the budget approved, blah, 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 right? I got to turn around the Queen Mary. Whereas if I'm going to wrap trucks, I can probably do it in 3 weeks and I'm done, right?
Yes.
So I would say branding is actually where the small guy might have an advantage over the big guy. Would you agree?
Oh, well, absolutely. And just really being able to do some unique things, like you're saying, and listen, you're going to try things that don't land how you want them to land. But I tell everybody, how I know if I buy a company or I start a company, I've proven this twice with my roofing company and my pest control company. It only takes me about 12 months and I'm way more known than any other company, and they can be 40 years old, but I am already surpassed their revenue most of the time, because I just know that if I can hit the ground first and put my name out there and do fun things, and I'm giving out popsicles to kids, I'm shaking hands, I'm donating 20 basketballs, I'm doing all this sweat equity work, eventually I just creep right past those of you that are only hanging on to the digital side.
So let's talk about branding for, and I'm going to take a number, a $3 million roofing company, right? And the guy has been approached by private equity, doesn't want to sell. He goes, look, I like my business. I like my family. I like, Kansas City, wherever he is, whatever. How is he going? What's he going to do to become the guy in his neighborhood in Kansas City?
He is going to be brand forward because he's going to be everywhere that the people are. So whether that's him himself or he hires someone, he is going to wrap all of his trucks that he has in a nice, unique wrap. And he is going to have some sort of persona. So you kind of have to create this, I say alter ego, it needs to be authentic, but this like social person, this content person. So people
a brand,
that know
in a sense, is a brand. I mean, probably go to AI and say how to build a brand, but you have to do it, right? I mean, so it's like,
yeah.
Building a brand means when people say ABC Plumbing, oh, I know those guys. They were, they donated to the Christmas party. I met him at the, whatever local council meeting, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the brand is sort of a an avatar, for lack of a thing, in the town that everybody knows and trusts.
Right. Right. You've got to build trust and authority. And so listen, like let me talk granular for a second. So one thing is like a true brand is how you make people feel and what people know of you, not your logo itself, but your logo. If you think about it, your logo, your actual fonts and colors, and if you have a mascot or an icon and all that, and the layout of that is important for memorability, right? So if you have a unique last name that's very hard to spell, that's very hard for them to remember as well. So then there's a lot of things that go into like having a good brand, but your logo and colors and truck wraps and all that, that's one piece of it. But the other piece of it is the story that you tell. So you want to be known as the authentic one, the one that's very giving, the one that is the authority in whatever trade you're in. That is it's who everyone picks. Using branding to create FOMO, if you will. So people are like, I wish I could use that company.
What is FOMO? I don't understand that word.
Fear of missing out.
Okay, that's a new word for me. I learned a new word.
Yeah, we got to create some FOMO, right? So fear of missing out by not using your company. And so when you put your company out there, number one, you're going to look a lot of like a larger company than you really are. And people are going to, I see y'all everywhere. And you could be a $700,000 company. But it's more about the intentionality behind it. And people are going to build relationships with you. Just because they see you and they really are surrounded by who you are, they start really feeling a personal connection to you. And then every other person in your space, there's a differentiator there. And so it's definitely an impactful piece. My pest control company, we bought a logo, a mascot, wrapped 3 trucks, and got a jingle before we ever sold the first job. Because we knew that we were going to need all of those things to make a grand impact at the beginning.
Okay. And so that's something your company does all that stuff, right?
Correct.
So if you are wanting to build a brand, I mean, you're the person you need to call, because unfortunately, a lot of marketing companies, I don't think understand brand.
No.
They think, well, it's pay-per-click. We're going to give you these numbers. You've got 20,000 views, 5 things. They do everything on statistics. And they don't know building trust in the community is not something that's on their KPIs.
Yeah, they don't go, how many community events did you do? Now, I do know that they're starting to recognize people that do it well or expedite their performance is showing up. So now they're like, hey, they know that it makes them look good too. But yeah, so my job is to help you build out what your true brand should be and then get you with the right vendors to bring your advertising tactics to life using that brand.
Great. Okay. So Crystal, if people don't have a brand or want a better brand, how do they contact you?
Absolutely. So 𝗏𝗏𝐶marketing.com is our website. There's a little contact us form. It asks a little bit of questions about you. And that's just so when I do, it allows you to schedule an appointment with me. What it does is it allows me to get to know you before the call so I can do my own little bit of research. So we can skip that part, right? Or you can just email us at hello@lemon-seed-marketing.com. Say that you heard us on the podcast. I've got a $500 little coupon code that I'll give to anyone that comes straight from your podcast, Paul. Just because if they already are listening to this, that means they're invested in growing their business and growing themselves. And so hello@lemon-seed-marketing.com. And of course, if you aren't ready for services yet, you were just on my podcast from the Yellow Chair, where we talk about all things marketing, and follow us on socials. I put out tons of free content. So maybe if you're not ready for a full service company, but I would love to talk to anyone. Our packages are really affordable.
I think that's great, because I know this is exciting to me, because I'm trying to help the small guy compete against private equity and recruitment. That's sort of our mission. Our clients are all between 5 and 30 employees. They're not bigger than that. And I think branding is a great way to do that. And I think that's how insights to how, I think you're right. The big companies are interested in revenue, not in trust. And that's a different process, right?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate you being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.